So I'd like to pass you over to our final speaker, who I'm very, very excited that he's here, Dr. Stephen Duckworth from Serco, who has an incredible history in this area of welfare to work and helping disabled people into employment. So I'm going to pass you over to Stephen.
Good, thank you. I was going to do the Daily Mail bit and see where on earth they are. But no, absolutely true, and it's like that Groundhog Day moment for me. That it's 30 years since I had my accident and things haven't really changed. You know, they really haven't changed, and that's a sad indictment of a society. You know, we call ourselves a modern developed society, and a good judge of how a society functions is how it treats and respects and values and financially rewards its disabled citizens. And I think that we should take that message away with us. It's quite important. My story is sort of slightly different. I'll talk a bit about Serco first. I said to several people I work for Serco, who are they? Comes back the response. I'm sure some of you know Serco. We employ 105,000 people, so it's not a small company. We are for profit. What's wrong with profit? It supports your pension fund.
Only if it's given to us.
Only if it's given to you. You have to earn it first. Now you can see we come from a slight political divide here. But that's the beauty of diversity, isn't it? We can have a difference of ideas. Now, I mean, Serco claims that it's one of the world's leading service companies. We deliver public services. So a large number of our customers, obviously, are the public who might use transport services. So on your network, we run Merseyrail, the highest performing rail operating company. We run Northern Rail, and then more locally in London, Docklands Light Railway, and also Boris's Bikes, and things like that, or the London Cycle Highway, as I'm supposed to call it corporately. I now am in sort of the top 40 of the business. How did I get there? Well, I joined the company 2.5 years ago as a contract director in the West Midlands. I live in Hampshire and I had to work in the West Midlands. So I had to find a support worker, I had to find a flat. The company paid for that. The support worker was paid for by Access to Work. I had to be physically hoisted out of bed and all the other assistance that a profoundly disabled person needs in terms of their personal care and support. So there are bits and pieces there that if you can track your way through the system, you can actually get into employment. They employed me at the time because I was doing some consultancy work for them. I used to run a research and consultancy business, and they were focusing in on the welfare to work area and putting more people back into employment with the anticipation that would also include disabled people, and because of my knowledge and experience about promoting opportunities for disabled people, wanted me to work for them. So I ran that contract for 12 months and then got promoted to the role of Strategic Development Director in what we call our Civil Government Division, which works with central government in transport, prison management or offender management, health and welfare to work. And then a year after that, you see, Serco loved me for some reason. I got promoted again, and I was gobsmacked by this. First thing I did when I joined the company, I went to the group HR director's door. I knocked. I got someone to knock on it for me because I didn't do it. And I bounced in. I said, "Guess what? You're going to be my mentor." And he said, "I'd love to." And I mean, a trick for anyone who wants to get on in an organisation: get a board member to be your mentor. It really helps. It's not what you know, it's who you know sometimes. David Higgins, I'm sure, has had a profound impact. David Higgins used to be Chief Executive of the Olympic Delivery Authority, responsible really for achieving the objective of getting the Games stadia and the regeneration of the East End of London fit for purpose, on time, within budget, despite what the Daily Mail might say, and a keen enthusiast on equality. He attended every equality meeting. I was board champion for equality and inclusion, and also keen on the environmental side and the aspects. So I've no doubt that there's been some influence from David and what you guys have been doing in that example that we heard earlier. But taking me back, first of all, I qualified as a doctor. So I trained as a doctor at Guy's Hospital, broke my neck when I was a fourth year student, inevitably told by the General Medical Council that I'd gone back to medical school after a year in hospital, qualified as a doctor, and they said, actually, we can't register you, you're too disabled. So I'd done all the 6 years work and then was told to go away. And then I did a PhD around disability and discrimination. This was before we even had the Disability Discrimination Act, which has now been merged into the Equalities Act. That was about sort of 20 odd years ago. And then I worked with the local social enterprise, is what it would be called now, but it was the Southampton Centre for Independent Living, helping disabled people move out of institutional care into the community, following a trip that I'd made to Australia to look at how disabled people were actually engaged in the delivery of public services to disabled people. And then, as I said, I ran my own company for about 20 years. I sort of came to the conclusion at the same time as many disability activists, because I never called myself a disability activist, and some disabled people don't like me because of that. That's fine. I get on very well with people who don't like me. So anyone who doesn't like me, come up and have a chat later on. But there was a saying that emerged, which was nothing about us without us. You know, and that is what I'm thinking about in terms of disabled people's lives. So where Serco operates in such diverse markets, you know, I've mentioned some of the services we run in this country, but we run prisons in Australia, like Christmas Island we run as a prison. When the boat people are travelling south, the Australian Navy pick them up, bung them onto Christmas Island. We are required by the contract to repatriate them. Not a great, you know, fun business to be in. But it's a contract that the government wants us to do because of their immigration problems. And we were talking earlier that the government's going to be changing the benefit system quite dramatically over the next 2 to 3 years with the introduction of a framework agreement. It's going to have quite a profound impact on a large number of disabled people's lives. And so in my role, if you like, I can bring my experience of medicine, my experience of assessment, my experience of being a disabled person and a benefit recipient into creating a solution, because it's a black box procurement process, to design a system that involves disabled people in the assessment process, rather than allowing those doctors who didn't want me to be a doctor to get away with making loads of money and building large swimming pools in their large suburban properties, to allow disabled people to get a slice of that cake and get actively involved in it. So the way that Serco operates typically now is as a prime contractor, and we subcontract to SME social enterprises. We build the capacity of those social enterprises as an integrator. In terms of access, in terms of welfare to work, we do no direct delivery to job seekers. We just empower and enable good providers at a local level to do things better. And in the same way, we could do the same in the prison and custodial environment. We're working with 2 voluntary sector organisations there. Some of you will have heard of them, Catch-22 and Turning Point, to support a reduction in reoffending rates amongst amongst prisoners who are leaving Doncaster prison. So there are lots of things that ugly corporates who are for profit can do to actually build the capacity of our social enterprises and small to medium-sized businesses, who are the growth of the economy. That's where the employment will come from. Yes, Railtrack's employing 1,000 new people, but ultimately, if every sole business person employed 1 person, you know, we'd be a long way down the road. So I'm really keen to see in ways in which big corporates can operate in that way. It would only have happened had I got into the position that I got into and started to be able to have conversations with some of the financial decision makers about the direction that the company should or shouldn't go in some of the contracts that it's running. I heard an American woman, wheelchair user, say quite a while ago, and I think you've heard it a couple of times here already, that it's the soft bigotry of low expectations that limit opportunities for disabled people. You know, if you say on your CV, email application that you're a wheelchair user, you get a different response than if you don't say that you're a wheelchair user. So it's that soft bigotry of low expectations. I think what I've tried to sell into the company Serco is this idea that it's the soft bigotry of our low expectations that's holding everybody back in terms of the way in which we deliver public service. Because if there are 11 million disabled people in the population of the United Kingdom, if we don't intrinsically understand the needs of those populations, their transport needs, their accommodation needs when they're in custodial services, which is a big challenge, their employment needs and a whole range of other factors, then we'll never get it right. So in terms of diversity, we've got a diverse group of people who use ultimately the public services that are run. We need a plurality of providers to deliver those services at a local level so that local people are delivering services to local people rather than some big monolith coming in and thinking it knows best. But hovering above that to operate as a sort of an integrator come sort of facilitator to coach and support that delivery. And it seems to be working quite well. In closing, I just mentioned that I'm a board member also of another social enterprise which has been mentioned already, the Employers Forum on Disability, and many of your organisations may well be members there, and we've still got this challenge of employers, the 400 members of the EFD saying we'd love to employ disabled people but they never apply. So if Even Break can just be a small part of that and rapidly become a bigger part of that solution, which is delivering the candidates to you, the employers who want them, then perhaps you'll see more than 3 of us here next time we meet. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stephen, very much indeed for that. And in fact, thank you to all of the speakers this afternoon. Very much enjoyed listening to you all. I hope that everybody else has.